The town of Everbrook existed outside of time. It sat nestled in a valley forgotten by the hurried world. Its cottages never sagged, their paint never peeled, the gardens bloomed in a perpetual spring, or perhaps it was always summer. The folk of Everbrook lived quiet lives. They did not age as others did. Their faces remained smooth, unlined by worry or the swift passage of years. They remembered much, but time was a gentle river here, not a rushing torrent. A soft, unchanging melody played. Then Elias arrived. His coming was a mystery. No one saw him born, no mother cried out in the night. One dawn, the sun painted the sky, and there he lay. He was at the foot of the great oak, the oak that stood ancient in the town square. He was wrapped in soft moss. Starlight seemed to cling to him. He was a gift, or perhaps a sign. The town held its breath, sensing a change upon the wind, a new note in its timeless song. His infant eyes were not like other babies' eyes. They held an old light, a deep knowing, as if he had seen worlds before this one. The townsfolk gathered. They looked upon him with awe. A profound silence fell over Everbrook. This child was different. He was a spark in their endless day. They felt a ripple disturb the calm surface of their existence, a gentle tremor, a promise of something new and perhaps a little wilder than they were used to. From that moment, a new magic touched Everbrook. It was subtle at first. Colors seemed to deepen. The air hummed with a fresher energy. The scent of the eternal flowers grew richer, more intoxicating. The melodies carried on the breeze became sweeter, more complex. Elias, the silent babe, had brought something with him, something ancient and potent. He was the town's new, unspoken secret, its vibrant, beating heart. A new chapter had begun, though no one knew its end. Elias grew, or perhaps he simply unfolded, like a rare flower revealing its petals one by one. 17 years spun by in Everbrook's slow, gentle dance. He became a figure of impossible grace. His laughter chimed like distant bells. His touch was a balm. It mended broken pottery. It soothed troubled hearts. Wild birds would land upon his shoulders. They sang songs composed only for him. Flowers would turn their faces to follow him as he passed, basking in his presence. Life in Everbrook transformed. It became a living poem. Elias was its most beautiful verse. Every interaction with him felt significant. He could make the mundane magical. He turned simple chores into joyful dances. The baker's loaves rose higher, tasted sweeter. The weaver's tapestries shone with an inner light, all for Elias because of Elias. He was their sun, their moon, their brightest star, the source of their renewed, gentle joy. He was everything. His enchantment was not limited to the people. The very stones of Everbrook seemed to respond to him. The cobblestones beneath his feet felt softer, warmer. The river that wound through the valley murmured a more lyrical tune when he walked along its banks. Even the shadows in the lanes and alleyways seemed less deep, less foreboding when he was near. He was the town's gentle guardian, its living fairy tale, a constant source of soft wonder and effortless beauty. Yet a change began within him, a subtle shift, unseen at first, the constant adoration, the timeless perfection of Everbrook. It started to feel less like a haven, more like a beautiful, gilded cage. He had charmed everything. He had touched every life. He had seen every smile bloom for him. But was this all there was? A quiet yearning began to stir, a desire for something more, something beyond the endless, gentle days, something unknown. This yearning grew. It became a quiet hunger, a hunger for experiences that Everbrook, in its serene perfection, could not provide. He longed for the taste of true sorrow. He yearned for the sharp sting of genuine loss. He craved the thrill of the truly unexpected, sensations that lay beyond the town's gentle, unchanging borders. A faint shadow began to creep over his bright spirit, a whisper of discontent in the perfect harmony. He wanted more than just beauty. His touch, once a source of pure enchantment, began to alter. Flowers he caressed would burst into an almost painful brilliance. Then they would wilt with unnatural speed. Laughter he inspired sometimes carried a brittle edge, a note of near hysteria, a frantic quality that unsettled those who heard it. The poetic rhythm of Everbrook began to falter, a skipped beat in its ageless heart. The magic felt strained, overstretched. It was still there, but different. The townsfolk noticed. Of course they noticed. A quiet unease spread through Everbrook like mist creeping in from the woods. The air felt a little colder. The eternal sunshine seemed to dim, just a fraction. Their beloved Elias was still beautiful, he was still charming. But a new, unsettling depth flickered in his eyes. A distance had grown. He seemed to be looking past them, towards an unseen horizon, a place they could not imagine. He started to seek out the forgotten corners of Everbrook. He pored over ancient, dust-covered texts in the old library. He listened to the whispers of the wind in the eaves, hoping for secrets, for answers. His desire for something more became a consuming fire. It burned within him. It made him restless. It made him reckless. The town, sensing an inevitable shift, held its collective breath. They watched their bright star begin to wander from its course. One twilight, as the sky bled into shades of purple and grey, she appeared, a woman, veiled entirely in crimson. She stood at the very edge of the whispering woods, the woods where children were told never to stray. No one in Everbrook knew her. No one had seen her arrive. She was a vivid slash of dangerous colour, a stark contrast to the muted, fading tones of their once vibrant world. Elias felt her presence, a pull, an undeniable summons. He went to her. He could not resist. It was as if an invisible thread connected them. The townsfolk watched from their windows, from the doorways of their homes. Their hearts were heavy with a nameless dread, a cold premonition. He spoke with her, or perhaps she spoke to him. Her words were lost to the distance, carried away by the evening breeze, but her gestures were slow, deliberate, utterly mesmerizing. The crimson of her veil seemed to absorb the last light of the dying day. Then, as silently and suddenly as she had come, she was gone. And Elias was gone with her. There was no struggle, no cry, no sound at all. Just an empty space where he had stood moments before. The vibrant heart of Everbrook had been plucked out. The silence that descended was absolute, a crushing, deafening weight. The magic, so long a part of them, shattered. It evaporated like morning dew under a harsh sun. Instantly, Everbrook aged. Wrinkles etched themselves onto once smooth faces. Houses which had stood proud for centuries began to sag. Their timbers groaned. Gardens eternally in bloom withered and turned brown. Time, held at bay for so long, rushed in. It came like a relentless flood, reclaiming its due. Years passed, many years. Then in a small weathered cottage, a baby was born. Its eyes, when they opened, held a familiar old light. A faint, almost forgotten scent of starlight and moss clung to the air around it. A whisper, a possibility.